So we'll start the meeting for January 24th, 2024. We start by the Pledge of Allegiance, so if you'd all stand and repeat after me.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Can we have a roll call vote?
Chair Lidke.
Here.
Vice Chair Erickson.
Here.
Commissioner Tippett.
Here.
Commissioner Snow.
Here.
Commissioner Anderson.
She's on her way.
She's said she'll be a little bit late. She's in traffic.
Commissioner Benson excused, and Commissioner Kasparian.
Here.
Great, thank you. Has everybody had a chance to review the minutes of December 13th,
Yes.
2023?
Yes.
I didn't see any corrections.
I didn't see any either.
She does such a good job. Do we have a motion to approve the minutes?
I'll make a motion that we approve the minutes of December 13th, 2023.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, minutes are approved for December 13th, 2023. We have 4 public hearings going on today. The first one will be the Midvale-Bingham Junction Station Area Plan. Is Adam?
I'll yield that. Adam isn't here today.
Okay. Vendelin will be
Adam.
presenting that for Adam.
Today we have our second station area plan on the agenda for the Bingham Junction station, and Chris Geddes from Design Workshop will present that to you. Just sort of as an introduction, we talked about that with the other station area plan. We are doing the station area planning due to the 2022 legislative session in which the Utah State Legislature basically passed legislation that requires all cities that have a fixed guideway public transit station to conduct these station area plans. And this whole exercise is basically geared towards having 4 specific outcomes that the legislation is looking for, and that is that the availability of affordable housing is considered, sustainable environmental conditions, enhancement to access for employment purposes, and also the increase of transportation choices. So, I mean, it's something we probably ought to do anyway, and the legislature just sped up the process for the cities, you could say. And tonight we'll hear about the Bingham Junction Station Area Plan, and your role as the Planning Commission is to look at that from your perspective as commissioners, and you would make a recommendation to the City Council about this plan.
Great, thank you. Chris, you're in the hot seat.
Hey, Commissioner, can we put Robin Cho?
Let's recognize Robin at 6:03. Not a problem.
We can switch to the laptop, or we can do this. If we do this, then I'm asking you to go forward. But I can do it on the laptop.
Oh, gotcha. There is a clicker.
Okay, that will work just fine. All right. Well, thank you, Planning Commission, for having us tonight. We're excited to talk to you about the station area plan. You might wonder why the slide says West Jordan and Midvale station area plans, and I'll talk about that for a little here in just a second. We were hired by WFRC on behalf of Midvale and West Jordan to do the station area plans for Bingham Junction, Historic Gardner, and City Center all together. The reason that they decided to go together is as you can tell, the station area plans, so it's a half-mile radius from the station itself, they're all overlapping. So it made sense to think together about these. We did do independent processes through with the public and council and planning commission, so that each city had their opportunity to weigh in on their own plans independently, but it was a combined plan. So the goals that we established early in the process are on the screen here. One, to encourage redevelopment around stations, considering a variety of housing types and densities. Vendalyn mentioned the House bill requirement or desire to look at station areas as opportunities to help solve the housing issues that Utah is facing, to help push transit use, ridership, to help with the environmental concerns that are raised through traffic. So that's number one goal there. The second is to propose land uses that will create true mixed-use areas. So this idea that you have an 18-hour place that you're going to or coming from. Incorporating affordable housing opportunities and just defining specific goals, again, something that's really important to the state and UTA. Establishing connections to surrounding neighborhoods and amenities, making sure that we're using these station areas as really home bases for the neighborhoods. Helping to create an identity for each of the stations. So we don't want every station to feel the same, to look the same, to act the same. They need to be about the communities that they're in. Promoting various types of mobility options. So this isn't just about the TRAX line, it's also about different bus lines, walking, biking, all the different ways to move to and from the station. And then finally, studying how UTA can optimize their properties to catalyze development around the stations. We're sitting, especially at Bingham Junction, on a pretty large park and ride lot. There are better uses than that the state has defined. So thinking about how we think about the future of that park and ride. So timeline, we started a little over a year ago. Again, went through a couple of months of kickoff, just learning about the station's existing conditions. We had an engagement meeting back in late January of last year. From which we began to study the station area vision and put together some concepts for what the future might look like. We came back to the community in late April and talked with folks in the room next door about some options, and got people to draw on trace and really think about how the station area might come together. From that, we developed a preferred concept, which you'll see tonight. We did take it again in late August for early August, for further community engagement, and then we've been putting together the plan since then. So here is the summary of engagement. So again, early last year, interviews in small groups, property owners, business owners, stakeholders. UDOT is an important one. We did meet with council back in January as well. We launched a survey in March that was open for about 3 weeks to get community feedback on the future. The story map is the project website that followed us throughout the process as well. And we did do, again, design charrettes, both with West Jordan City in April and Midvale as well. So on to the station area plan itself at Bingham Junction. So this was the preferred concept. As you can tell, and I'll show you, here's some options about what the actual station is. So that outer ring is the half-mile radius, the inner ring is a quarter-mile radius. And there aren't, as you are all well aware, there aren't a lot of opportunities around here for infill development. Much of the area, the commercial area to the north, has been built out. Most of the housing has been built out. So we really focused on this station area on that core of the site. So the station, let me see if I can find a pointer here. That probably won't work anyway. The station is right just south of the Overstock building, as you're all well aware. So Bingham Junction Boulevard. This is the current park and ride facility where 1A and 1B are. So this plan really looks at maximizing the use of the UTA property, again, to help solve some of the issues that are facing the community from a housing access standpoint, from bringing other uses in. So the idea on that site would be that UTA would go into an agreement with a developer to develop a mixed-use building that would include residential, ground floor retail, potential commercial spaces. To the west of that, on the land that you probably know as the BMC area here at 1D, that is shown as a couple of things. A residential building at the core, so up on the bluff overlooking the center to the north, and actually getting great vistas of most of the Wasatch Front to the north and west there. And then commercial office uses to the west of that. So those blue buildings would be commercial office. Obviously, parking has to be embedded in each of these facilities to make sure that they work from an access standpoint. And so we did look at really modeling those 4 sites just because we could think about density. One thing that did come up during the conversation was the potential future for redevelopment of a lot of the land there in the pink over by off South Main Street. So thinking about one of the big important components of the community's vision here was making that connection from the station to Main Street, which is currently, it's a tough one. To get there, you've got to go up past Overstock and over or to South Main or down, I think all the way to 7800 South and come up back around. So one of the things that we established in this plan was this idea of making new connections possible. So new vehicular connections, we're suggesting a connection of Tuscan View Road across South Main to Main Street, so directly through the street that divides us and the senior center today. We are also suggesting the development of new pedestrian trails. So looking at a pedestrian trail along the UTA right-of-way along the tracks, connecting over South Main, and then providing more connections, really making sure that we have consistent and continuous connections to the Jordan River Trail and south along Bingham River Boulevard, or Bingham Junction Boulevard, pardon me. From an open space standpoint, it is important to incorporate open space where people are living, where people are working. So currently there is some space that's shown as park space in the city's planning along Bingham Junction Parkway. And the idea here is we just really make that a real park space. Right now, it doesn't really function from a park. It's nice to look at, but nobody's really using it. So making that more of an active space, as you see here in 1C. And then also incorporating additional open space elements between uses, incorporating a plaza area, again, that overlook, or at the top of the bluff, looking north and west and east. So important connections there, and again, making sure that we are getting people back to the Jordan River Parkway, such a wonderful asset here. In terms of addressing the affordable housing goals of House Bill 462, one thing that we talked with the city about was this opportunity for HTRZ funding. If you haven't heard of that, it is an opportunity for communities to pursue basically a state TIF that could help pay for infrastructure improvements, parking, whatever cities want to. But it sets a low limit of density, of residential density at 50 dwelling units per acre. We heard from the community that was a little too aggressive for the community, so we're really we're probably in the 30 to 36 range for this site, thinking about 5 or 6 stories of development with that ground floor retail. In doing that, we can still help with the need for housing along the Wasatch Front and in Midvale. And what we're recommending in the plan is that as UTA pursues redevelopment of that property, that they search for a goal of at least 20% of affordable share of any redevelopment, residential redevelopment that happens on that site. Implementation, this is the really important part of the plan. So how do we do this? Again, this is not a roadmap for what you're going to see out here in 5 years. The market has to come to town. Interested developers need to make a proposal. UTA's got to do some stuff with their site and building momentum. So we have embedded in the plan this implementation matrix. And I'll just go through phase 1 here really quickly. The first is to update the Junction at Midvale overlay to allow for more the uses that we're proposing on the UTA property. So again, that's just a change in your code to make sure that we can do what the community has told us they'd like to do. Number 2 is conduct conversations with BMC regarding potential redevelopment. BMC also happens to be a land user at West Jordan City Center, so we've had some good conversations with them. Those need to continue in order to kind of make that land available for potential redevelopment in the future. 3 there is to prepare a developer RFQ for a flexible mixed-use development at the Park and Ride. So that would be a UTA prepared thing in conjunction with the city. 4th here is to potentially create a TIF district for the stationary overlay, again, to help with the redevelopment potential there. And then to prepare parking demand estimates and understanding parking structure cost estimates. So as we move forward, we know that the developer's not going to pay for the transit parking. We know we have to continue to have transit parking there at some level less than there is today. UTA recognizes that they have oversized almost all of their surface lots, so that's something that needs to happen here up front. And then a couple of others here, conducting that feasibility study for the connection of a pedestrian trail along the track's right-of-way, and then initiating that extension of Tuscany View Road to Main Street. A couple other things that this group should be very interested in is recommendations around land uses and your zoning code. So there are a couple of things that we do recommend changing on the current Junction at Midvale overlay. You can see in the table here, the proposed land uses, mixed-use commercial, that would be primarily where the UTA property is, putting in a mixed-use zoning district on that. And you can see the proposed provisions to that, so proposing density that could vary from up to 50 to 65 dwelling units per acre, depending on what the market might bear. I'm thinking about it a max height of up to 8 stories or 100 feet, and then having a maximum front setback of 15 feet, again, to make the street experience more urban, more enjoyable. Medium density residential, as we're moving to the west at the top of the bluff, decreasing the density there, 30 to 50 dwelling units per acre, maxing out at 4 stories, and then a bit of a larger setback, and then office again at that same 4 stories or 55-foot height limit. So those are recommendations that are embedded in the plan as it has been drafted to date. So with that, I believe that is my last slide, and I am happy to take any questions.
This may be for city, but who bears the cost of parking structures? Is it, I imagine it's the city, UTA, and the developer, and the kind of a partnership?
It depends on the project. We actually have some of both in the city. I mean, as an example, Overstock.com. That parking structure is partly city, partly Overstock, as far as I know. Other projects we have, I mean, they tend to be smaller. That's internalized. For example, Overstock's structure, also Zions Bank, by the RDA's participating, that of course also gives the city some right for use of the spaces. The Overstock structure, as an example, serves as public parking when we have events on Main Street.
Okay.
Thank you for that. You put a lot of information in a very short amount of time.
Certainly.
I'm glad you were breathing.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
I like, there isn't a lot of availability there, but in the future, that kind of industrial area along Holden and Main Street definitely could be redeveloped. And then, of course, the UDOT property, but that's really kind of your options there. I like the idea that you brought up the park, that because I thought it was just drainage. And so that's interesting that the city owns that and that it's a city park. But to me, it just kind of looks like a flood plain.
It serves a purpose, a very narrow purpose right now.
Yeah. So I'm sure there's lots of people that would like a dog park and pickleball courts. So thank you. Anybody have any questions? Anything further?
All right. Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Do I have a motion to
Are we
open?
gonna open it for public hearing?
Yeah.
It's a public hearing.
Yeah. Do we have a motion? Oh, I just opened it, sorry. We'll now open it to public hearing. I always think that we have to have a vote on it or a motion, but we'll open it up to public comment. If you have anything you'd like to share or ask, please come to the podium, state your name.
Were there any comments? Gwendolyn?
Other than the comments that are in the plan, we sure didn't receive any other ones. And there was some interest in the beginning with some of the open houses, but there hasn't been a groundswell of interest leading up to the meeting. So.
Okay. I move that we close the public hearing portion.
I'll second that.
A voice vote, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right. Public hearing is now closed. Any comments or anything?
No, I think the plan was, I think, very well done, and, you know, time will tell what happens, but the proposal I liked quite a bit.
Yeah, I think it looks good.
It's a very tricky area. I did appreciate the pedestrian bridge.
Yeah.
It wasn't really brought up. And I know how expensive those can be. But I thought to connect it, I don't know if a lot of people know that stop is there if you were hanging out on Main Street. So that would be a nice connection point.
Yeah, I like that, to connect with the vision of Main Street, connecting it to Bingham Junction too. And I like the idea of the road coming through too, eventually.
All right, so what's our verbiage?
So the motion is in the staff report. So it would be page 3. It's very, very simple. I mean, you basically just recommend approval of the plan.
I move that we recommend approval to the City Council of the Midvale Bingham Junction Station Area Plan.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Roll call vote.
Chair Lidke,
Yes.
Vice Chair Erickson,
Yes.
Commissioner Anderson,
Yes.
Commissioner Snow,
Yes.
Commissioner Tippett.
Yes.
The motion passes.
All right. Thank you. Thank you for being here and your presentation and all your hard work. Our second item is Keith Jacob. He requests a final subdivision approval for a 2-lot subdivision located at 641 West 3rd Avenue in the single-family residential 2 SF2 zone, and Elizabeth will present.
Okay, so yes, just a 2-lot subdivision kind of over in our neighborhood here. It's one of the double wide kind of lots over in that area, and we've seen a couple subdivisions that are very similar. You'll see on this vicinity map that the western portion does have an existing home on it. They are planning to keep that there, and the subdivision will meet all setback requirements, so that will remain. This is a copy of their subdivision plat. Staff found engineering, fire, everyone was okay and approved the plan. We haven't received any objections or any concerns regarding the project, so our motion has remained the same as included. So.
Okay. Anybody have any questions for Liz?
Nope.
I thought it was pretty straightforward. And
I'll say not at this time.
Great.
there you go. All right. Is the applicant here? Would you like to come forward and make any comments?
Yeah, so we own the house. We've put a lot of dollars in refurbishing that, and then we hope to add another home to the community. So that's the goal.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Well, we'll open it up to public comments. If anybody would like to come forward, please state your name and ask your questions or make your comments.
But how come you guys jogged the lot? How did you come up with the lot line in the center?
Go back,
that will let you go back a slide.
so you mean how it L's in the back?
Yeah.
Yeah, so in order to meet the minimum 5,000 square foot of the yard, of the lot, we had to do that. And the property next to ours had to do the exact same thing. And that had to do with the fact that the existing home's driveway is on the west side of the property. It's not directly centered, and so we had to, keep the lots to meet the requirements.
Okay.
I asked the same question.
In your head, though?
Seeing no public comment, I make a motion to close the public hearing portion.
I second it.
All right, roll call vote.
Just aye.
To
It's an
close
aye.
the public hearing.
Oh, sorry.
It's okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, motion pass. Oh, no,
No,
we gotta
we
make a
just-
motion. Who would like to make a motion?
I'll make
I'm
a
getting all
motion.
confused.
I move that we recommend approval of the final subdivision located at 641 West Third Avenue with the findings included in the staff report.
I second it.
All right, roll call vote.
Chair Lidke,
Yes.
Vice Chair Erickson,
Yes.
Commissioner Anderson,
Yes.
Commissioner Snow,
Yes.
Commissioner Tippett.
Yes.
The motion passes.
All right,
I'm going
Okay.
to step out for C and D.
okay. We'll recuse Commissioner Snow for the next two items. Our next item is Mark Snow. He requests approval for a conditional use permit for a flag lot located at 7240 South, 525 East in the single-family residential zone, SF1 DO, and Vendelin will be presenting.
This project should look familiar to you. We've looked at a different version of it before. You may remember the location on 525 East, just south of Fort Union. This time, though, it is only one lot, as indicated on the aerial image here. The image is slightly outdated. If you haven't been past this for a while, the home that used to be there, older home, I'm not sure, maybe built in the 60s, was demolished. This is the notice that went out. The neighbors should have received the written notice a few days ago, depending on how quickly the post office delivered things. Here's the sign, and here you can also see that the home is gone. And this is the new proposal. If you look at the agenda, we have two items scheduled: the conditional use permit for a flag lot, and then the plat that goes along with that. There are some things of note here. Since this is a project now that's not in a legislative realm, a flag lot is really, it's a conditional use, but conditional uses are allowed as long as the applicant fulfills all the criteria. And this went through our normal process, and all the criteria for a flag lot have been fulfilled. So that's really all the normal items: the setbacks for the structures, the size of the lots. And if you look at this, you may notice something unusual. The applicant tried very hard to accommodate parking. And that is also driven by the ordinance and the conditional use permit for flag lots. And I've tried to show this on here a little bit. The ordinance talks about a requirement for parking in the side or rear yard for each unit, and they have implemented that. So you see the parking up there. Then for the units that front onto the public street, it's in the rear yard, 2 stalls for each potential unit, and then just by unit 1 an additional two stalls. Now, if you also consider that in the notes, it talks about garages, so you would add 2 additional spots in the garage, and then you consider the driveways. These driveways are all long enough that they can easily hold a car. So this project will essentially provide 6 parking spaces per dwelling unit. So that's a lot more than we normally see. I mean, just a normal single-family home normally has 4. If it's an older home, it may have 2 or 3, depending on the width of the driveway, and if there's a carport or a 2-car garage. So this is really quite in the parking department. They provide probably more than we'll ever see again, unless it's a flag lot development. There are some other items that are unique to flag lots, and those are also spelled out in the notes, and that pertains to this height of the structure that is on the flag lot. That's separately regulated within the conditional use permit, and then that feeds through the building permit. Our ordinance says that the home that's on the flag lot can only be 25 feet tall and have a maximum of 1 story. Of course, we don't have that here since it's not building permit time. So that's really everything there is to this conditional use permit. And you have seen that in the staff report, there are general conditional use permit criteria and then specific ones for a flag lot. And from the staff's perspective, all of the criteria have been met in this development. And I'll also show you the subdivision plat. And here you can see basically just the outline of the lots and then easements that are associated with each lot. And the staff's recommendation is to approve the conditional use permit and to also recommend approval for the final plat. Do you have any questions for me?
Not for you at the moment.
The developer's representative is also in the audience if you want to have questions answered from him. So,
Thank you.
you're welcome.
Thank you, Vandalyn. Is the applicant here and like to add anything to it? You just state your name and...
Paul Watson, project engineer representing the applicant. And on the parking, I mean, we did all those stalls not because I'm nice, but because I'm forced to do it. I mean, we would actually rather not do the parking on the side because I'd rather that be somebody's backyard versus additional parking. But to have a project, we're following the code. I believe we've met everything that is required, but it's more of a gripe than anything. But we'll do whatever's required. So if we could get rid of those side yards and rear yard, because I mean, each building has a garage. It has, as Wendland said, and he did a great job presenting. Every building has a two-car garage, 2 cars in front, and now 2 cars on the side or the back. I mean, that just seems a little overkill for what we're trying to do, but again, that's the ordinance, and so we're following it. The rear yard, or the back flag lot, same thing, kind of a gripe, but we're following the ordinance, because the rear yard would work awesome for a walkout basement. I mean, he'd have a flat yard and a walkout, but because of the ordinance, then we're being forced to do that. Now we have a 1-story and a slope back down. I mean, still the house would be exactly the same height and elevation and everything. The only person that would see a 2-story would be the person on the other side of the canal. But same thing, we're following the ordinance, and we'll do whatever planning staff deems necessary. Other than that, really here to just answer questions, because Wendland did a great job.
Okay, thank you. Any questions?
Not right now.
All right, we will open the public hearing. If there is anybody that would like to ask questions or make comments, please come forward.
I move that we close the public hearing portion.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, public hearing portion of this is done. Any discussion? I think it's pretty straightforward.
Yeah, I mean, I just think that the ordinances need to be followed. So,
Yeah.
you know, as much as the developer may not like those added parking places, that's what the ordinance calls for, and that's what needs to be followed.
I second that.
Was it a motion?
No.
Would anybody like to make a motion?
I move that we approve the conditional use permit for the flag lot located at 7240 South, 525 East, with the findings noted in the staff report.
I'll second.
Roll call vote?
Chair Lidkey,
Yes.
Vice Chair Erickson,
Yes.
Commissioner Anderson,
Yes.
Commissioner Kasparian,
Yes.
Commissioner Tippett.
Yes.
The motion passes.
Right, motion approved. Thank you. Our next item is, again, Mark Snow requests approval of a final plat that goes along with this motion for the cottages at 7240, consisting of 2 lots located at 7240 South, 525 East in the single-family residential zone, SF1DO, and Vendelin will present again.
The plat implements the conditional use permit for the flag lot, and in that sense, it's a technical document. We reviewed it, the engineering department reviewed it, the fire department, and all kinks have been worked out. And so as the staff recommends approval. And I should also not forget that the process on this is a little more drawn out than normal because the location next to the canal requires that Salt Lake City Public Utilities, as the canal owner, also reviews everything. So this project has received a lot of scrutiny.
Okay, thank you. The applicant like to add anything? If not, that's okay too.
No gripes on this part. And yeah, really here just answer questions.
All right. We'll open the public hearing. Anybody would like to make comments?
Seeing no public comments, I move that we close that portion.
A second.
All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right. Any discussion? I don't have anything. Okay, do we have a motion?
I move that we recommend approval of the final plat for the cottages at 7240, consisting of 2 lots located at 7240 South, 525 East, with the findings noted in the staff report.
I second it.
Okay, roll call vote.
Chair Lidke,
Yes.
Vice Chair Erickson,
Yes.
Commissioner Anderson,
Yes.
Commissioner Kasparian,
Yes.
Commissioner Tippett.
Yes.
The motion passes.
All right, thank you for being here.
Thank you for your time, I appreciate it.
Congratulations.
I think Vandalin's ready.
Vendolin, do we have any upcoming meetings or?
Oh,
Well,
we should
we'll-
probably wait for
we'll-
Dustin.
Let's get Dustin.
We'll welcome Dustin back in.
Yeah.
I almost forgot about you, Dustin, so.
Nobody else did.
Yeah.
Nobody else did, so they kept me in line.
We all rushed.
So for the staff update, we are working on another study. We just started for the Fort Union corridor. And as part of that study, we are planning a tour of the street and the adjacent land uses. And the idea was to get you as planning commissioners and citizens who use the street probably every day or go shopping or do whatever you need to do in life. We would like you to have more involvement in the study and also the city council. Unfortunately, there are some time constraints. The consultant gave us a date of February 15th in the morning for a possible tour. I know what many of you are thinking. You are probably working, and it's not that great of a time. But that's why I'm bringing it up. As many as of you as can come, we would really like if you would. What works for you? So the suggestion here was Thursday, February 15th from about 9 till 12.
This is a walking tour.
I just Googled it. Very cold. That's all it says.
It's probably going to be cold, and yes, it will be a walking tour, at least in part.
But they're going to provide electric scooters for us, so.
Well, we are actually thinking about the city bus, the senior center bus,
okay.
bus. So
Fit right in.
We can have lunch at the senior center after.
It's not bad.
actually, I had lunch at the senior center not long ago, and Candy was there, and
Busted.
Yeah, I go 3 times a week.
and it's actually nice.
Yeah. I can go on the 15th.
You can.
I think I can make it.
I can make it work.
Okay. What about? You can't. Robin?
I think I can.
You think
I'll
you
wear my
can?
walking shoes.
Okay.
I probably can.
You think you can?
Yeah.
Okay,
We'll take notes
actually,
for you.
Can we FaceTime?
We'll FaceTime
Yeah.
you.
yeah, we'll FaceTime you in.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Then I will bring that back. This will have to be advertised as a public meeting, and we don't know yet how the city council's availability is. We'll have to see. I mean, if I'm happy that most of you can come, so that's great news. As a reward for going to this,
Good transition.
yeah, we also wanted to talk about planning commission dinner.
Watch
know-
Matt be available for that.
Yeah, Matt will be available.
Where is it?
Yeah, that's what I guess we as staff wanted to find out from you, where to go. I mean, we've gone to Bohemian. If you like that, we can go there again. They were actually pretty accommodating with reserving space for us.
I thought it was great. I
I-
think we should do that. It's
I really
pretty
liked it.
centralized.
Yeah,
I liked that.
I mean, we all live in Midvale.
yeah.
Well, I think we should do a Midvale restaurant too.
Yeah.
So I think
Yeah.
that's.
I liked the Bohemian. I thought they were very gracious to us, and so I think that worked out well last time. And
Yeah, they have German-inspired food, so
So that makes you very grumpy.
German-inspired beer.
I don't know that much about that, but I do know a lot about pretzels and sauerkraut. So.
Although this time Liz said that she's not sharing pretzels, so everybody will have to get their own.
I get in my own.
What is a good time for you? Last time we had it on a Thursday, I believe. Thursday evening. Does that work again for you? It works well for us. If it's, on a work day, Candy, does it not work for you?
No, it works, it depends on when that Thursday
Yeah.
is. Because I do start rehearsals pretty soon.
Okay.
It just depends on when.
Were you looking at February?
We can do it whenever you want. I mean, we can do it in February.
If we did it in February,
March.
the first couple weeks of March, I would be available, but after that, I wouldn't be
Okay.
on Thursday.
Okay.
What about
Um,
the 22nd of February?
What's President's Weekend, President's Day weekend? We need to look at that. Some people are out of town.
President's
It is
Weekend?
that.
When is it?
That's right after.
The 16th, I think.
Yeah, it's-
the
Yeah.
weekend of the
So the
16th.
22nd would be fine for me.
Yeah, so it would be the Thursday after President's Day weekend.
Yeah, President's Day is the 19th.
Yeah,
And it's not the same week as the planning commission meeting.
Yeah.
correct.
We could have a planning commission meeting at Bohemian.
No. You'd have to record it.
Oh, we might get too rowdy for that.
Yeah.
I think we probably should.
Yeah.
Yeah, the 22nd works for me.
Okay. Does it, if it works for all of you, then we'll start on.
Kasparian,
I second.
could you make that?
That's gonna
A
be really
priority.
hard for him.
A motion to meet at Bohemian.
What day did we decide, sorry?
Thursday, the 22nd.
Yeah, 6 o'clock, is that a good time? Earlier or later? 6
Well,
o'clock?
I'm old, I go to the senior center, so 4:30 is much better for me.
4:30 is better. And can you get 2 plates so you and your husband can split it?
6 is good.
That's good,
I'm
okay.
taking offense to this. Okay.
No, that sounds great.
Another thing that I wanted to just bring up with you, maybe there are some ideas that you have. We are thinking about doing some, trainings like we do every year, but maybe spaced out a little bit. And if you have any topics that you are interested in, things you would like to see, let us know. Just send an email to Johnny, Liz, me, Adam. Some things that we have thought about together with the chairman. For example, we could go and visit the new complex that's pretty much close to finished on Fort Union. That's the moderate income housing complex. And as part of that, we could learn about our general plan, especially the housing component, how things work together, and that specific project, the city actually also had quite a bit of involvement. So I mean that would be an example.
That would be one I'm very
Yeah, I
interested
would
in.
be
Yeah,
really
I'd be
interested in that.
interested in that too.
Okay.
Will the senior center provide a sack lunch for us that day? And we could go?
It's $4 if you're a senior, 6 if you're not.
Actually, they charged me 9.
Really?
Yes.
You must look very young.
You must have been, I guess. I only pay 4, so.
I was wondering if that was a possibility.
We can always
what about,
try.
like, affordable housing, like talk about that.
Pardon?
Affordable housing, I get asked that question a ton.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that a conversation along with the tour about how
Yeah.
it works, what
Yeah. And
What it is.
yeah.
the different types, we have affordable housing, we have, subsidized housing, we have a
That
lot
would
of
be
different.
great.
I think that'd be a
Cover
good
that.
topic.
Yeah. Okay.
I'd like
yeah.
to be able, when people talk to me about affordable housing, what exactly does that mean, and how full up are we? And, I mean, you're talking affordable housing, is when you're saying that, you've got places for rent for $1,600 to $2,000.
Yeah.
That's not affordable housing.
No, but low-income housing is based on,
See, I would like that to tie into
yeah,
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
based
That
on
would
your
be great.
income, a percentage of your income, so.
And not all the projects are all income-based, they're market-based, there's a percentage that's set aside
That'd be
for
good.
that, so,
I think
Yeah.
that'd be my number one.
yeah,
Yeah,
Okay.
I like that.
that
Yeah,
would be
then
great.
we'll arrange that. And if you remember, in Midvale, the housing plan that gets into the moderate income and affordable housing questions is actually done by the RDA. The reason is that Midvale actually has a very active program where the city uses RDA funding in order to depress the rents, at least of some units, to the point where they could potentially be affordable. So, yeah, great. If you have any other ideas, just
I think it'd be
email
great to
them.
have something like go in the other room or even here and maybe do some training where we don't have to go to St. George, or we don't
Yeah.
have to go somewhere where it could count for those that need it to count and towards something, but we
Yeah.
could just kind of be here. For me would be great.
Okay, yeah, we can do that. There's several ways how we can arrange
That'd
that.
be
I mean, we could even, there's an option where through the American Planning Association, we could, let's say, stream a conference session.
Yeah. And if
There's,
we met in the other room and we streamed that and we were all here.
I think you
that'd be
should do it
kinda
at the
nice.
senior center,
I think we should.
Yes.
Maybe they'd give us
and
lunch.
dinner.
They're closed at 4.
I mean, since they're on our parcel of property, maybe they can keep the doors open a little longer.
Nope, it's bedtime, sorry.
So, then lastly, I think all of you maybe had a chance to look at that binder. Okay,
She wasn't here yet.
She wasn't
Okay.
here.
we'll send it over to you.
Yeah, I think it's great. It would be very helpful.
Our,
Especially zoning things and the maps, it's like that, instead of having to go back and forth in a screen to try and figure
Okay.
things out. I think it's great. It's a great little handy tool.
yeah, thank you. So I think one of our questions was, who of you would like this in paper? We are also going to work on putting this on the iPads.
I personally would like it on paper, just
Okay.
because as I'm looking on things
Yeah.
on screen, I don't have 2 screens at home, so
Right.
the ability to look at something and know where it's at, in a paper format works much better for me, but
Yeah.
that's me, so.
Yeah, I understand.
And I do both. I made a booklet just like that, so I
Okay.
reference it all the time.
Okay.
Giving this back to you people, I can't.
Anyone else who wants
I
a
think
paper?
paper would be good. Like tonight, the packet wouldn't load on Robin's because of the internet speed.
Oh,
Yeah.
really?
Yeah,
So to toggle back and forth, I don't think.
Yeah,
that's a
it
good
doesn't
idea.
work
Yeah.
real well all the time. I understand. Okay. So,
I'd-
Candy, Dustin, Robin, you want a paper copy?
Yeah.
Do you want,
Okay.
Candace wants one too.
Okay.
Yes, please. I know how paper
I don't need one.
So we are at 5 then, right?
I like it.
Okay. Sounds good. Thank you. Then that's
you.
everything we had as staff.
All right, great. Thank you, staff, again, for being here and all your hard work. And
We didn't even check in with legal. Is legal okay?
does legal have anything to comment on?
Legal is so happy.
Oh, you heard me.
Do we have a motion to close the meeting?
Say it.
I move we close the meeting at 6:54.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you, everybody.
Great job.